Hello everybody. So today I would like to be presenting a tool that I have been developing these last few weeks. So it is a command line tool for Odoo development workflow. It is named Odoox, available on GitHub at kajande/Odoox. Please visit the repository and contribute. So this idea came when I started developing this specific module here that I may present to you very quickly, right? So basically it is a module for processing ID cards and retrieving information out of it. Let me do you a quick demo. So let's take this ID card, for example. Click next in order to process this card and retrieve information. You have a pre-processing step, but in our case here, it is not needed. Next again to retrieve the information. Let's see what we are going to get right. So here we have got a Python dictionary that contains the information that is retrieved from the image here. As you can see here, we have the identity card number, nationality, first names, last names, date of birth, and so on and so forth. So this here is an occasion for you to correct some information, right? For example, here sex, it could not retrieve that information, so you could just fix that very quickly here. And you know it is F female deduced from this number here that you get here. Okay, right. Now from here you can click next again in order now to populate the Odoo fields. Okay, so we got here an error. Okay, so it is telling me that this is not a correct format. There is an entry that we did not rectify, correct. I think it is this one. So again, by deduction, you can deduce the date of expiration based on the date of issue. So generally, it is just the next day, 5 years later, right? So next day, 5 years later. Oh, the day before, excuse me, 5 years later, right? Next again, and let's see again. Wonderful. It works. So the fields have been successfully retrieved. So now, as you can see, this is a very simple module, yet it took me like a whole week to build. And this is due to what? It is due to the fact that I, following the standard Odoo development workflow, for example, at Docker Hub, if we go look up how to develop an Odoo module, for example, or at least how to start an Odoo project, you can see here they provide us with two commands. First one for starting a Postgres server that contains a database, and then another command for starting the Odoo server. And as you can see, you notice here that we have already very long commands with a lot of options. So if an error had to occur, you may want to remove this container and rerun it again with the same command, a very long command. Or if the database has a problem, you may enter into the container and run Postgres SQL queries and things like that to check if a module is installed or if it is present, things like that. I found myself running such commands most of the time, and this is a problem because it may take you like 40% of your time instead of focusing on building, on adding features to your module. To fix that, I had the idea of creating an automated tool for Odoo, for the Odoo development workflow. And it is that we have here in result. Okay, so once again, I invite everybody to go to the repository and contribute. You can contribute in many ways. You can pull requests or even add issues, right? So please contribute. So as a result, we have this command Odoox here that I have installed. So the instruction for installing this is very simple here. So I've installed it into environment named Docker. Okay, by the way, Docker is a project for processing administrative documents like ID cards, passports, and things like that using optical character recognition and artificial intelligence. Okay, let's get back to our magic tool, Odoox. So what Odoox is doing? Well, it is going to abstract away many of the commands you would have manually, right? So instead of doing things like that, Docker, D for detach, E, and provide an environment variable here, and so on and so forth. And you can notice at the same time that these types of commands are very prone to, are very error prone. To abstract that away, we can use a command as simple as this one, for example, just to run. Do X run. Okay. All the other guys, all the other options, we have them by default. Okay, in the settings in the Odoo project over there. So that is the idea. Okay, so we will be presenting the commands available or the subcommands available at Odoox. So briefly, we can summarize those subcommands. So we have p, m, db, and finally nothing. If you do not specify a subcommand, well, it consider the commands related to the containers. Right, for example, we can say docker ps. So what docker ps does is it lists all the containers that are running under this project, right? So this also is important. So we are not interested into running all or into listing all the containers that are present our laptop, like what docker ps does. So docker ps will be listing, for example, here it has listed here 3 containers that are running. So for example, this one is not interesting for us. It is even named demo 5. It is from a different project somewhere else. So we are not interested into seeing this container here, right? All we are interested into seeing is the containers that are named Docker Odoo and Docker PG, which are the containers that are related to this specific project, right? So these are the types of simplifications that Odoox is providing to the developer, right? So we will have the subcommand p for operations related to the project, for example init. So with the option init, which I use for example to populate this project, is used for that purpose. So automatic project population here, it creates this project automatically, and other commands that are not yet implemented but that you can contribute to implement. And next we have operations related to modules. So here again we have an option like init for initializing a module, install for installing a module, a for activating a module. So we will see all these options in the next videos on how to use effectively the development workflow, right? And we have also DB operations for example, creating a database, deleting a database, selecting a database. In cases, for example, if you have multiple databases and you want to select which one to work with, you can use this option as. So traditionally, if you didn't have this tool, how would you do to create a new database and select it? It would be very, very tedious. You would have to call docker exec it, that's the name of the container, to get into that container. Then you would have, once inside the container, you would have to run psql, something like that, -u, to connect to the database, and run things like the create database, right? So you see how much time this takes. This takes you. So now it is fully automated. What you can do is just Odoo db test4, for example, if you want to create it, and it is automatically created then S to select it. So this is the idea. You will see in detail how these commands and options work in detail. Finally, we have operations related to the images, okay, that are relevant to this project once again. So Odoox image. So we see that here we only have one image for this project, one image that is built for this project, right? In contrast to Docker images, which would list you all the images in your laptop. So we do not need to see all of them. All we need to see is this one, very simple. Okay, so this is again the idea. It makes your life really easy, and it helps you build the modules very quickly and iterate. And yeah, so this is the purpose of this command line tool. Please contribute and see you to the next videos for more details on those commands and